Student of Chemistry Honours, Mathavanga College. Today I am going to discuss the topic application of green chemistry. Green chemistry have many applications, and in this video I am going to discuss 4 applications by using few principles of green chemistry. So, before knowing the applications of green chemistry, we should know what is green chemistry. Green chemistry is the design of chemical products and processes that reduce or eliminate the generation of hazardous substances. That means we can say green chemistry is a kind of sketch or diagram which consists of numerous chemical products and processes that remove or sort out the generation of harmful substances. Now come to the first application, synthesis of adipic acid. It is under the principle renewable feedstock and less hazardous chemical synthesis. According to this principle, the feedstock or raw material should be renewable rather than depleting. Substance should be less hazardous, not harmful for human health and environment. Uses of adipic acid. Adipic acid is primarily used in the synthesis of nylon. Let's see the conventional method for synthesis of adipic acid. Benzene is used as starting material, then it is treated with hydrogen. In the presence of ranitidine, it is produced cyclohexane. Then this cyclohexane is treated with oxygen in presence of cobalt catalyst, and this reaction produced cyclohexanone and cyclohexanol. Then this cyclohexanol is treated with nitric acid, and it is produced the desired product adipic acid. In the green method, we take glucose as starting material. Then this glucose is treated with E. coli bacteria, and 3-dehydroshikimate is formed. Then this product is treated with E. coli bacteria and formed cis muconic acid. As these two priority group are at the same site, so it is called cis muconic acid. Then this acid is treated with platinum hydrogen. A reduction reaction is happened, and adipic acid is formed. Now comparing these two methods, in the conventional method we used benzene as starting material, and benzene is carcinogenic in nature. Carcinogenic means the substances that can cause cancer, and it is also non-renewable. And here we treated cyclohexanol by nitric acid. It is very dangerous and harmful for health. But in the green method we used glucose, which is non-depleting and renewable. Also this is non-harmful for health. So we can say that the green method is more useful than the conventional method. Now come to the second application, synthesis of styrene. It is under the principle use of safer solvents and auxiliaries. According to this principle, the use of auxiliary substances like solvents, separation agents, etc. should be made necessary whenever possible, and when it is used, it must be harmless. Uses of styrene. Styrene is a chemical used to make latex, synthetic rubber, and polystyrene resins. Let's see the conventional method for synthesis of styrene. Here we also used benzene as starting material, then it is treated with ethene, and it formed ethyl benzene. Then the ethyl benzene is treated with catalyst, and after dehydrogenation, styrene is produced. In the green method, we can use xylene and toluene in the place of benzene. And now compare these two methods. We know benzene is carcinogenic in nature and it is hazardous solvent. But the xylene and toluene are not hazardous, and they are safer solvents. So the use of xylene and toluene is most useful than the use of benzene. So the green method is more useful than the conventional method. Now the third application, nitration of phenol. Nitration is an important chemical reaction. It is under the principle less hazardous chemical synthesis. According to this principle, whenever practicable, synthetic methodologies should be designed to use and generate substances that possess little or no toxicity to human health and the environment. Let's see the conventional method for nitration of phenol. Here, phenol is used as starting material, then it is treated with nitric acid and sulfuric acid, and we get paranitrophenol and orthonitrophenol. In the green method, phenol is treated with calcium nitrate along with acetic acid, and this product is produced. Then if we heated this product, decarboxylation reaction is happened, and we get only the para product. Now if we see that in the conventional method we get the two product, para product and ortho product. These two products are difficult to separate, and here we use nitric acid and sulfuric acid. These two are very hazardous and difficult to handle. But in the green method we used calcium nitrate and acetic acid. They are not harmful as nitric acid and sulfuric acid. So the green method is more useful than the conventional method. The fourth application is synthesis of ibuprofen. It is under the principle avoid chemical derivatization. According to this principle, during synthesis, unnecessary derivation such as blocking or protecting groups should be avoided whenever possible. The use of derivatives increase the steps of the process. Hence, additional reagents are required. It also generates waste product, and hence to avoid such effects. Uses of ibuprofen. Ibuprofen is used primarily to treat fever, mild to moderate pain, dental pain, and headaches, and etc. Let's see the conventional method for synthesis of ibuprofen. Here isobutyl benzene is used as a starting material, then it is treated with acetic anhydride in the presence of AlCl3. This is the well-known Friedel-Crafts reaction, and the process of this the purpose of this reaction is to introduce the acyl group in the benzene ring. As the isobutyl group is para-directing in nature, so the acyl group is introduced at the para position with respect to the isobutyl group. Then this product is treated with ester of chloroacetic acid. Now what happens? The lone pair of electron attacks the carbon, and the chlorine is released as a leaving group, and this type of product is produced. Here we can see that the oxygen is in three-membered ring, so it is highly strained, and bond breaking process takes place, and the corresponding aldehyde is produced after hydrolysis. Then this corresponding aldehyde is treated with hydroxylamine, and this product is produced after elimination of an water molecule. Then also in this product we can see that there is a hydroxyl group and an hydrogen. So also a water molecule is eliminated and the corresponding cyanide molecule is produced. Then the hydrolysis of this cyanide, corresponding acid is produced, and this is the final product, ibuprofen. In the green method, we also use isobutyl benzene as a starting material. Then it is treated with acetic anhydride in the presence of HF as a catalyst, and it is produced this compound. Then it is treated with hydrogen in presence of catalyst. The ketone is converted to enol form. Then this enol is treated then by oxidization in the presence of carbon monoxide and palladium. The enol is converted into acid, and this is the final ibuprofen product. So comparing these two methods, we can see that in the green method, the ibuprofen is produced in only 3 steps, but in the conventional method it takes 6 steps. So and here also we can see there is many reagents are used, and many waste products are formed. But here only the reagents is not much, and not much waste product. So, and the yield of the ibuprofen in green method is higher than the yield of the conventional method. So the green method is very useful than the conventional method. Thank you.